All right, here we are, Sugar Gliders Core 1. Say hi, Sugar Gliders. Hi. All right, we are starting Chapter 5, Lesson 1, Integers and Graphing Integers. Can somebody read the first sentence and fill in the blank with the correct definition? David, nice and loud.
Chapter 5 concept thing. No, got it. Positive whole numbers, their opposites, and zero are called blank. Huh? Oh, which are integers.
Okay, so the first definition is our definition of integers. Positive whole numbers, their opposites and zero are called integers. The second part of this is to represent data that are less than zero. So all these numbers here are less than zero. You can use negative integers. That's the definition of a negative integer, numbers that are less than zero. A negative integer is written with it looks like a dash, but we call it a negative sign. Data that are greater than zero, and we'll see that here, are represented by positive integers. And notice in our definition, 0 is neither negative nor positive, but it is an integer. That's in our definition. All right, so we have this nice graph for you guys to look at. Here's some application now. Write an integer for each situation. Explain the meaning of 0. So sometimes we think of 0 as nothing, but 0 always has some sort of meaning depending on the situation you're involved in. So we have a 10-yard loss. Does anybody know if that's going to be positive or negative? Say it if you know it. Negative. That word loss means negative. So because it represents a loss, the integer is negative 10. Does that make sense? Okay, a 10-yard loss, we can write it like that mathematically. That's our math code. That little dash sign in front of the 10 just means negative. There's a loss. In football, so here's the situation. The integer 0 represents no yards lost or no yards gained. So if you start at 0, we haven't gone in either direction, right? No yards lost, no yards gained. All right, number 2, 4 inches of rain above normal. Is that going to be a positive integer or a negative integer? Everyone? Positive. Okay, so because it represents above, that's our word for positive, the integer is 4. In this situation, the 0 represents the normal amount of rain. So we're comparing 4 to 0, which would be normal amount of rain. Sometimes you'll see a positive sign in front of that, like up here on your graph. But if there's no positive sign, we just automatically know it's positive. Okay. And number 3, a $48 deposit into a savings account. Do we know that word deposit? Is it positive or negative, everyone? Positive. When we make a deposit, we're adding number. So because it represents, we're going to call that an increase. The integer 48, the integer is 48. Okay, so in this situation, if we start with 0 in our savings account, that represents neither a deposit nor, what's the opposite of a deposit? Anybody know? Celine? Nor a withdrawal. So 0 means we haven't done anything. All right, I am going to pause the video and give you a few minutes to work on the got it problems. So write an integer for each situation like we did on number 1, 2, and 3. But the important part here is to explain the meaning of 0 in each situation, and you have some examples above to follow.